We're back. This is episode 7, I believe. Episode 7.
Something like that.
I think it's 7, yes, because that means, because we're on 3, so 7. If you're new to this show, that was very confusing. Me saying we're on episode 7 because we're on 3.
It's Star Wars timeline.
Yeah,
right?
Star Wars timeline.
Yes. Yeah, jump around.
So this week, this is my favorite prequel, Revenge of the Sith, and I suggested to you because of the lightsaber battle in this one between Anakin and Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah.
That we talk about lightsaber battles and our favorites.
And I mean, with Star Wars talking about, like, you know, there's a lot of things going on in Star Wars, a lot of different planets, a lot of spaceships, a lot of different characters, but like the heart of like the manifestation of the Force and using it comes through lightsabers, right? So I think it
sticks together.
Yeah. So it's an awesome suggestion to talk about, you know, the most significant or the lightsaber battles that we enjoyed the most in the film.
The one thing I never, like, before we get on to the topic of lightsaber battle, I just want to talk about lightsabers for a moment.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny, though, that, in my view, that they went so far in the future and they developed, like, these laser guns, and then someone was just like, swords, man, let's do it. Like, I'm just imagining, you know, like, the people that are really into swords nowadays, like, the people in, like, their basement,
Yeah, they do have a bit of a, I live at home with my mom in the basement, but I've got an awesome gladiator sword type thing.
I couldn't buy a house, but I could buy this katana.
I literally, just a little sidebar, I remember like when I was a young man, like going and visiting like a guy's apartment that I just was sort of buddies with or whatever, and he had like nothing in there. Like he had like hardly any furniture, and he was literally like, look at my sword. And I remember, I was like, shouldn't you exchange that for like a futon or something like that, dude? Like, cool sword, I guess, but like, are you gonna sit on that or like make toast with it? Like, what? I don't get
He
it.
used it to spread butter.
Yeah, exactly, right? So
it makes sense now if you look at episode 4. If you just forget about the first 3, episode 4's real story is about how Obi-Wan's mother died, so he just kept the house, and Luke comes over, and the guy's like, look at my cool sword. Want. Look at this is awesome.
It is, well, as soon as you said that, it made me think of like when Obi-Wan describes it as like sort of like an elegant weapon or whatever, right? It's not like elevated, like a pistol is just sloppy and it's for like heathens kind of or whatever, right? Lightsabers, like the refined gentleman's form of combat.
Have you seen there's a guy called something Ninja, but all he does is he takes swords and he cuts water bottles? I'm imagining Obi-Wan just in his backyard with containers of blue milk. Just
Oh man, you get bored some days, right? You gotta fill the day, and you got a lightsaber there. So it's like, what can I cut in half? Yeah, you'd have to do that.
So as much as I do like talking about the epic lightsaber duel between Blue Milk and Obi-Wan Kenobi, we should maybe talk about. Well, you know what? As we're going to talk a lot about our favorites, why don't you start off by talking about our least favorites?
Sure. Okay. And so, the least favorite. See, I was focusing more on my favorites, so let me think for a second here. You know what? Anything between Anakin and Count Dooku, or I guess Obi-Wan was involved in one of those. Even the Yoda one with Count Dooku, I didn't find that something about that character just did not resonate with me or just stick. Yeah, and I just found it. I don't know. There wasn't anything special or really memorable about those ones, I thought. So yeah, the Count Dooku battles were sort of had the least impact or oomph for me.
My least favorite lightsaber battles are definitely Darth Sidious versus Yoda. I hated it. Absolutely hated it. I found it was just, again, I've said this before, it's just wastes of 2 characters that are amazingly powerful, just going, we're evenly matched, let's just use sticks, let's go. We got this.
It is like, we've got way superior power, so let's just do this. Yeah. Because the fans know it or whatever.
Let's just throw things at each other. We got this. So going from that, so there's a bunch of different spectrum of your favorites, like favorite choreography, favorite shot, and stuff like that.
Yes. I was thinking like I have 3 in mind that I want to talk about that were like standouts to me when I thought about it, like my sort of top 3, and they're sort of, I feel like they're like different or unique, each one of them. So
do you, I was going to say we should do one that's your favorite one that had like a lot of emotion behind it, favorite shot one, and favorite choreographed one.
That fits that.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah.
Do you want to start off with your favorite one with emotion behind it?
Okay, so the favorite one with emotion, and this would probably surprise our 4 followers who watch this
Count
thing
Dooku
or whatever.
versus Yoda, right?
But no, it is, but it comes from the prequels, because I really thought like Phantom Menace, for all its problems and everything, the lightsaber battle with Darth Maul between Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan is like incredible, and I found that like so many good things about it. Just like when Darth Maul comes in right at the start, and they're with like a big crew of rebels, right? And the rebels are all like you guys got this, right? And they're like basically like go, like get away, because he's going to kill you guys quickly. And then it just like, and Darth Maul, that's when he pulls out. It's the first time as fans that you see the double-sided one. We talked about this a bit before. I think of all the different versions of the lightsaber, like Count Dooku again, he had like a little curve. Like a little curve. Whatever. And
that's like a butter knife.
Yeah, and like of all the different versions of them, I thought that double one was like nothing cheesy about it. Like looked awesome to fight with, and yeah, incredible. I like the different stages of the fight. When they started in the hangar, they moved to that area that had all those different bridges. In Star Wars, they love like thin bridges and empty space in the architecture there. Creates dramatic scenes. And then to where it goes to in that little space at the end, and the force fields coming back and then coming out. That's amazing. I loved it.
It was very good with the force fields. It was a really good way to
create
separate
tension,
it.
Right? Yes.
And then having Qui-Gon obviously die, and then having Obi-Wan fight for his master.
One of my I love the shot too when Obi-Wan is like the force fields are about to open up and let him in, and Qui-Gon's just been killed, and Darth Maul's just sitting there like, bring it, dude, and Obi-Wan's all like, I'm gonna bring it, like he's just ready for it. That like really got me psyched up. And when you think about the rest of Phantom Menace, like that was awesome. And Darth Maul looks awesome. He's an amazing. We've talked before about, I wish he had lasted longer in the prequels, because he was such a great character. So that all the movement, the fact that he's taking on 2 people at once, 2 Jedis and everything, I just found it awesome. The end too. Some people think the end was a little cheese with what happened or whatever, but I like, as far as a film thing and taking it in and just like to watch it, that was like oh my god kind of moment or whatever. I really loved it. But so what do you think about that one first before we move on to the one you think is the movement?
I do want for one of my 3, I do have that. I think it's the best. I'll get to that when we do
okay fair enough.
That one. But I'm going to say quickly before we move on is I never really thought of it as like emotional and stuff like that, but now that I think about it, it was very good with that. Like, it was intense. It was for a terrible movie, it was definitely the crowning glory of that.
Yes.
My favorite emotional one goes. It was between 2, but I'm using one of them for different. So I'm gonna say was Anakin versus Obi-Wan Kenobi. I much rather not have Anakin in my movies because he's very whiny, but in this I really did like it. If you ignore everything that leads up to it going, like leave out him saying like if you're not my friend, you're my enemy and stuff like that.
Right.
Just right to the battle. It really does have a lot of emotion behind it, and maybe it's just because you spend all the movies knowing red is bad, blue is good, and it's 2 blue fighting each other. It's 2 friends conflicted. The lava was really over the top, but it looked really, really cool.
It did, and I have mixed feelings about that, to where it looked really cool at times, but then it seemed a little too much at times. Yeah.
Like I really thought it had a lot of gravity for emotion. Like it really put me into it. I remember as a kid, from episode 3, it was like the part that I was always like really amped to see. It was like, this is great.
Yes.
This is really pumped, and then it goes into Darth Vader being born and stuff like that. That's by far my favorite emotional one.
Nice.
Do you have anything to say about?
That was hugely emotional, and the whole the conflict and the like wanting to come together between Obi-Wan and Anakin, and them not being able to find common ground, and of course Obi-Wan finding the high ground.
Yeah.
So had to get that in.
The high ground.
And but yeah, I think I was already so jaded with Anakin's character and the portrayal. I was just like, whatever. Like I didn't feel like bad for him for his outcome or whatever and stuff. So but it was a very incredible scene, and to see that definitive break away from Obi-Wan was kind of amazing. Yeah, for sure.
So what's your favorite shot? Like you thought was the most beautiful looking?
Dude, I gotta like, and this is nostalgia, right? This is nostalgia, but it's the first lightsaber battle that there ever was. It was Obi-Wan and Darth Vader going back. So it's like it's the next one after. It's when they meet again, and but the apprentice has become the master or whatever kind of thing. And it's just because it was just so. Like, again, that one could almost be used for the emotion, because Luke, the way it's portrayed of Luke witnessing what happens to Obi-Wan, but just the amazing, like, you know, when Obi-Wan and Darth Vader first encounter each other, the classic, like when they first clash sabers, that long shot from Luke's perspective of them fighting there, and then Obi-Wan, you know, just deciding and doing the disappearing thing. It will, like, you know, that is etched forever for me. And another thing too that I have to say that was so important about that scene is, like, you always think of the visuals with lightsabers, but sound is like a huge deal for them, right? Yeah. And so not only, like, every toy now that has a lightsaber gives the sound of swinging them around, which is like so classic Star Wars, but also them coming together and that, like, electrified sound too.
Like the shock, it sounds like a shock.
And that, you know, that whole scene sort of set the base and sort of the rules for the lightsaber battles going forward. So that's always the sort of, I don't know, I love it.
It is a very good scene, and for then, like, the effects were cool. And the one thing I always wondered about that scene going, like, on with more lightsaber battles was when Obi-Wan gets hit, he immediately turns into a force, he turns into the Force.
Right.
And we see that with Yoda when he dies. And it does kind of a little bit explain it in the prequels. But I just always want to know, why does no one else just disappear? Like, it just seems strange to me. But again, I absolutely love that scene.
Yeah, and it was like a neat, like, I also found it interesting, like, just looking back on it as an adult and stuff, like, it obviously, you're expecting, like, gore, like, as a kid, you're, like, afraid of what's going to happen, and then it completely goes away from that, but to me, still effectively, with Obi-Wan disappearing and Vader, like, wondering what happened, and Luke still reacting as if he's died, because essentially he has, but it's not, you know, there's no body or anything there or whatever.
It's like the exact opposite from what happens with the new ones, where it's all about scare tactic and stuff like that.
Yes.
It was,
back
then it was a very clean cut.
Yeah, they make, like, in this, for example, there's, like, you see in Finn's shoulder, like, part of it is, like, burning away on him or whatever, right? They get, like, several strikes at each other in the battle, right? So, yeah, it's a different tone for sure. But yeah, that first one will forever be classic for me. I'm nostalgic.
Again, I love that scene, absolutely. And us just talking about this scene leads me to my favorite shot one.
Okay.
And this solely has to do with the cinematography and the just kind of the color aspect of it was.
I think I know.
Was obviously Rey versus.
Okay, that's
Kylo
not what I
Ren.
was thinking. That's not what I was thinking.
Oh, really?
Okay.
What were you thinking?
Oh, it's all. I've got it later too.
Okay.
So yeah.
But I absolutely loved the cinematography in it. It had, again, the raw emotion of the original series when it was really blunt. Again, I absolutely love, and you can see it in the cover a little bit, especially in the new one. They're really focusing on opposite colors. Like in the new posters, it's red and white for everything. The movie's very red and white. And with this, the whole landscape's blue with the red lightsaber.
Yes.
And with the blue lightsaber, and it really glows in their face because it's like evening. I love snow in movies. I absolutely I loved Hateful Eight and stuff like that. I always think it really looks cool, especially with the lightsaber, because as it was hitting snow, it would melt and like go away, and as it hit trees and stuff. I thought it was really cool, and it really, I know I'm not the first person to say this, but it was kind of what I wanted Anakin to be. You know, just kind of like raw power.
Right.
And I really did feel it like that. One thing, again, with this scene I didn't like was how Rey could take on Kylo Ren. And even going back and watching it, I remember seeing when Kylo Ren came off the ship and going, could you imagine being Finn and going, oh my God, that's like, I mean, it'd be like seeing Justin Trudeau. Actually, I probably should not say that because Justin Trudeau's a good. It's like seeing Trump. It's like
better
seeing Trump.
analogy, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, you come out and you're like, oh, that's Trump. You know, better stay away from him. And then it goes into it, and then I remember at the very end, after I rewatched it, I was like, he does pretty well for, you know, being built his whole life to be scared of this guy, and this guy is supposed to be amazingly powerful, and he gets away with just a hurt shoulder and kind of thrown.
You know what I thought too? Like, a lot of people are critical of that scene because they say, well, how can these people take him on? But to me, watching that scene, and I just freshly watched it too, like, to me, Kylo Ren is like toying with Finn, essentially. He's not really taking him seriously. And then Finn gets in a hit, and then immediately Kylo Ren sends the lightsaber away and takes him out, right? So it's like, as soon as he is like, oh, you really want to fight? Then he takes him out right away, right? Yeah. And same, it's sort of similar, I feel like, with Rey, also in that he's just sort of like, you know, she has some of the Force with her. Another, a little like, this is separate from the lightsaber battle really, but a little like weird issue I have with that scene. One of the very last things that happens in the scene, they have their lightsabers clashing, and she sort of remembers the Force, right? And that gives her the upper hand in the fight again and stuff. Yeah. But then I was thinking, like, when I was watching it again, I'm like, hey, the lightsaber was off in the snow, and Kylo Ren is reaching, he's like, come here, Luke's saber, like, I want this thing. And then it goes right past him to Rey, who has made it come to her, right? And I always thought of that being like an essential little, like a first thing of like the Force, right? So it's weird, like to me, she like uses the Force early in the scene to get a hold of the lightsaber. And then later on, she's like, oh yeah, the Force. It's like,
I just did that a couple seconds ago. I remember it now.
Yeah, you got the lightsaber. Remember the thing that you did there? Like but that's nitpicking.
Star Wars would have been a lot better if it just every movie was just us on the sideline.
Yes, exactly. They really did need us as consultants, well-paid consultants there.
I was sitting there and she closed her eyes and I'm like, Kylo, she's doing the Force. Watch out. It would be. Most scenes would end up with like, oh my God, just please get them to stop talking. This is annoying.
Yeah. We'd be like, have our mouths taped and be bound and gagged in a corner somewhere.
You'd be like, no, they killed him. Freaking out, you know, with the spoiler alert, the Han Solo thing. I would have been out there just slapping Kylo Ren like a angry mother.
Yeah, that didn't go over well.
So the best one for last. What was your favorite?
Okay, and this is the best. This is the best. Like, I don't know. We rarely have the same opinions, but in this case, I'm right.
Okay,
and this is definitively the best because, like, Empire's the best movie. It's the one everyone like always reveres and everything.
Agreed.
And just the scene, the lightsaber battle between Luke and Darth at the end is the best. They're on their own. Like Luke, it's so like frightening to think of, like, for Luke, who's like this like young apprentice who's sort of overconfident. He has a few skills or whatever. Yeah. You know, we can talk about the timeline of his training. He's been trained for at least 8 hours or so.
Oh, I was gonna say at least 5.
So
at least 5 with a half an hour lunch break.
And so all of a sudden, you know, and it's one thing to be. I think we can all relate to the idea of like, my friends are in trouble. I know they're in trouble. I want to go help them. But then all of a sudden, you're in this situation where it's like, oh. I didn't really assess what I'm taking on. Speaking of the cinematography, like, that was the scene I thought you were going to go to because there's so much like beautiful contrast between the lights in that area where Han's frozen and where they're fighting at first, and the lightsabers in there, and the silhouettes. With the lights. Yeah, the silhouettes of the characters and everything like that. There's that definitive shot where they're both essentially silhouettes. They're dark and their sabers are clashing, and of course where it leads to with Luke's injury and the classic line and him falling off the weather vane and all of that. So I like that, and to me too, that is like, you know, there's a few different things going on at the end of Empire as far as Chewie and Leia and stuff getting things back together. Han, of course, what happens with him, but like that's the climax, right? Like Luke and Vader being his father, that battle and everything, that is the climax of the movie, and I feel like that is by far the best. When I was thinking about okay, what's the absolute top one? That one was sort of leaps and bounds ahead. Although I still, for a little while, I was like, but Obi-Wan and Darth is so good because it's the first and stuff. But it's really, when you think about the extent of the fight or whatever, the one in Empire just is like multiple scenes. It goes on way longer. It's way more involved. So ultimately that one went out for sure.
I agree with you. That movie was really that movie was really good. But that scene was absolutely amazing. It had a lot to do with plot. It was. In the original, it's definitely the best one. The original, I absolutely loved it.
It's so cool too when you can make like not only is the scene amazing, but it's like integral to the plot as well, and like a huge
it's
plot
not just
point,
thrown
right?
in there for whatever.
Yeah, so it's functional and amazing to watch too.
My favorite, kind of hurts me to say it's my favorite.
Okay, yeah, and we all like. Let's just say Ty's wrong about this to start off.
I would actually agree with you on this one. I wish my answer was your answer. It's a really good answer, and it holds up a lot better than mine. My favorite.
I gave the old man answer though. Like this is probably a cooler answer. Really.
In my day, I enjoyed when Darth Vader fought Luke.
Yeah, that's the way it was, and we liked it. That's how it was supposed to be.
We were happy with that. We didn't ask for any fancy lightsabers with cross beams and with Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. We wanted
jumping in the flippity doodahs there. Yeah. We didn't need any of that.
Thanks, old man Bish.
Anytime.
My favorite was definitely in Phantom Menace. And that's why I said I'd talk about it later. I love the choreography of it. I love. Again, with the shields, it's really cool. I don't like the movie at all. And the main reason I love it is because of Darth Maul. I think it's really cool. It's, the Sith are back. He's taken on 2 Jedi at once. He's kicking butt. And before someone goes, well, Count Dooku took on 2 Jedi at once. We don't count Count Dooku here. He's not a character. Yeah. He's a Dracula. So I really, again, with the style, like I love the look of Darth Maul. Darth Maul looks absolutely amazing.
Yes, so amazing.
The choreography behind it was something that is yet to be matched. I know there's a lot of people that don't like the choreography because it's too clean. I know there's a lot of people that prefer the choreography because it's cleaner.
And it was busy, like the pacing stepped up compared to other lightsaber battles, but I mean, I feel like they pulled it off anyways. It didn't seem contrived or forced or too clean or whatever like that to me personally.
The one thing, and I'd like to say that I liked 7 a lot more than the prequels. A lot more than the prequels. And the prequels did terrible things to the original. But in my efforts to make sense of the prequels, there's one thing I really did like, and that's how in the prequels it's supposed to be the Jedi are not common, but they train forever. It's like you're like a monk. So that's why the dueling is so clean. They're so good at it and stuff like that. And then in the original trilogy, Luke is brand new at it, and that's why it's so sloppy and stuff like that. People don't have very much practice with it.
And you're right, like it essentially, in the earlier ones, it was like almost, you could compare it to like a religion or it had like a wide following, and then it almost became like cultish in the original trilogy where there were just a few of them spread out. And so that makes a lot of sense when you explain it that way.
And then the one thing I didn't like about episode 7 was, so Kylo Ren was born and raised to be a Jedi. It's announced, and he not only was he a Jedi, but he took out the Jedi Temple. He took on Luke. That's pretty impressive. It doesn't say he took on Luke, but I'm inferring.
Yeah, there was some type of rift there for sure, and he was trained by Luke for a little bit too, right?
Yeah, and he had a long training. So I'm like, I get it that Luke might not be, with how Luke was kind of unfinished, like his Jedi skills, it could be a little bit grungy, but with Luke going off and creating his own temple, I'm guessing, especially because in the new one you can see a Jedi book, I'm guessing he kind of brought back some of the old Jedi stuff. Yes. So it kind of damaged it for me when it was like he was still sloppy. It was more like force, which was really cool for that scene with the emotion side of it. But for me, it was like, okay, but Luke just kind of was like, it's a blade, just kind of swing it. Like was his lightsaber training freaking the Friday the 13th franchise? Did he just set him down and go, this?
Yeah. Have you ever swung an axe with one hand?
Yeah. He's like, just imagine this, but wearing all black with a lightsaber. That's what I want you to do. Like, where it was elegance and grace, and Luke, especially in the new trailers, he seems like he seems more Yoda-y.
Yes, more refined.
Yeah, he's like, I've seen this power up before, it didn't scare me, and now it does. He seems a lot more like graceful, so it seems like he would have maybe went for the more graceful side of it, and instead it's kind of...
See, and part of the explanation I would give for a bit of the clunkiness is that partially what we were saying before, where Kylo Ren wasn't really taking his opponents seriously, so wasn't really fighting as if he was going against a Jedi or something like that, and the idea that he was injured, right? Yeah. So that's going to take away from your form and make anything more sloppy than it normally would. So. But
even like in the very beginning of the movie when he kills that old man that I'm forgetting his name. I'm sorry, old man.
I forget his name too. Yeah. I know.
But I guess he just does a swing there. But even that, and kind of his swing was kind of clunky and. Throughout
the monitor thing just sort of is like slashing back and forth.
Which I guess you're not going to do like a ballet to destroy a monitor, but it's just, he seemed very, at no point was I like, oh, he's doing this because he's hurt. It just kind of seemed more, whatever, like even with him toying, if he was doing more of like, what are those people called that toy with the bulls, with the...
Matador.
If he was doing like that, like you missed me, like toying around with that way. Then once he got hit, then going to the clunky, I'd been like, okay, yeah, it's because he's angry and frustrated, where it was just kind of like, so he's just kind of was like, I'm okay to be clunky. I guess he hasn't had very much people to deal with because of that, but with that sense, then why have a lightsaber? Like, if you're not going to go against anyone.
Now that you say that too, like the only place that Kylo Ren really exhibits, like, being astute or being able to use the Force is with Poe Dameron, right? And like he won't give up the information. He like overwhelms him with the Force getting into his head or whatever. Like he can't do that with Rey. And then like you say, there's no sort of signature time with a lightsaber where it's like, oh, that's how skilled he is kind of thing or whatever. So I guess in The Last Jedi, the Knights of Ren, we're assuming as fans that we'll see some of that in the next movie, I guess.
Maybe that's what it was when he joined the Knights of Ren. They're like, ooh, shiny sword. And he's like, yes, be fans of me. I have a shiny sword. The only thing that I saw in...
Those dudes got outfits on point. Like, those dudes know how to dress.
They look very, very good.
Yes.
The one scene that I loved, like the one Force thing I saw in Force Awakens, that I absolutely loved, that I badly wish they would have done with Anakin. More than anything, if they could have taken anything from the new movies and gave it to Anakin, it would have been when Kylo Ren stops the laser bolt. Because to me, I was like, whoa.
Okay, and I forgot, right near the start, you're right, he just freezes that and sort of brings Poe along with it or whatever. Yeah.
But to be fair to you, for that whole movie, all we know is that he can mess with your mind and that he can stop those bolts. He could have spent his whole time doing that, and that could be all that he knows how to do.
Yeah.
It could be the equivalent of like pulling your finger back for the mind control thing, and him just going, I'll stop the laser.
Yeah, it is interesting in the new movies. Like obviously lightsabers were like a significant part of it, and Luke's coming back out and stuff. But the lightsaber battle, I guess, left a little to be desired, maybe. And like you say, the cinematography in it is great, but the actual like Jedi skills could maybe
increase a bit.
Yeah.
I'm hoping, again, with before we end off here, I just would like to end with one little short thing that I think we've talked about twice now, is, I don't know if we've talked about on air, but we've definitely talked about it twice off air.
Okay.
So Rey in the new movie.
We're going to talk about The Last Jedi?
We're going to talk about The Last Jedi.
Cool, okay. Yeah.
As we're talking about lightsabers, I wanted to put this on.
The Last Jedi soon.
I know, 15th. I'm pumped. We'll have to, before we go to see it, we'll have to do what we think is going to happen.
We should. Yes, we should do one of those. Yeah.
One thing I'm wondering, and we've talked about, again, okay, I'm now stalling. This is bad. Anyway, so Rey is now becoming her own.
Yeah.
So yes, Luke didn't get his own lightsaber till the third one. So maybe she'll get it in the 9th, whatever they're going to call it. You know, the Last Awakens or something.
Right. Yes.
So,
the Force Jedi?
Yeah.
No, that's sort of redundant, I guess. Yeah.
Return of Snoke. Anyway, anyway, at some point she's gonna get her own weapon. I hope.
Absolutely.
What? And you're not. You've
okay,
said
we
to
have
me,
talked about this.
Yeah, you said to me you're not very knowledgeable about the outside of the movies.
Yes.
So I'm just wondering if you could build a lightsaber for Rey, what would it be like? What would you decide?
I think it absolutely would be like a staff, and that being said, I don't know if it would be like, it could be half like the one she's used, but then because she has a staff as a weapon, that it would go like the Darth Maul thing. Or I don't even know, maybe it would have like 2 handles and then 3 like blade areas, you know what I mean?
Oh, okay,
and then the handles could
saying.
like, when you turn it off, they might come together or something like that, but then when you turn it on, you like spread it out and like creates a thing in the middle and then on each side. I think that would actually be, really now cool. Talking about it, yeah, because that would put obviously a twist on Darth Maul's, but make it sort of unique to Rey. Because like her use of the staff in the first movie was cool, and so it's sort of just building off of what she knows how to do. But of course, a traditional lightsaber is always awesome to me too.
Yes.
So what are you thinking?
And I've said this to you now 3 times. So in the expanded universe, there's.
I'll pretend I'm like surprised by it or
you'll
whatever.
You'll be like, oh my gosh, really? That's
wow.
a thing?
Jeez.
So in the expanded universe, there is, I don't remember the proper term for it, so I'm just going to call it a staff saber. But basically,
I think is.
No. Anyway, it's like a it's like a big walking stick, and on the top the lightsaber comes out.
Okay.
And I really think it's a cool concept for me of her like walking around with her staff and then pressing a button, and then the lightsaber comes off the top, and her still using it how she does. I think it would be her character is a very good chance to bring that to, like, because I don't know if they've had it in the animated. I could be wrong. I haven't watched the animated for a while. But I think it'd be really cool to see her with it. It's a lot more personalized to her. Of course, the regular is probably what they're going to go with, but I would love to see a staff saber, or even like what you said with the 2 handles would be really cool.
And I honestly, I like either version, and the thing that I would like to see is not them, like when Darth Maul fought his battle, he used the double side, right?
Yeah.
Like there was a purpose to that, and he'd defend himself or whatever. And like I don't want it to be like a different type of lightsaber just for let's have something different. Like if it's different, however it is, it should have like a specific fighting technique attached to it, or a specific sword technique that's like, here's how I use this to get an advantage, right? And there could be, with one in the middle, there would be unique things, but if you had a long staff and something coming off the end, there's unique things with that too, right? So it's like, I'd like to not only see a unique lightsaber, but see the choreography and the actual Jedi fighting to like be like, here's how I can use this cool, different version of a lightsaber kind of thing.
I think if they do give her a staff, the fighting style should be more of, what's his name from the Rogue One, the blind monk.
Oh no, I can't come up with it right now.
Anyway, he was like the best character from that movie, and I feel bad I can't remember his name.
Oh my god, he was awesome.
But like,
I'm one with the Force, and the Force is with me.
Yeah. Apparently you're not, because you can't remember his name, and apparently I'm not, because I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
But like,
details.
when he takes out the group of stormtroopers, that with a lightsaber on the end would look so cool.
Yes, it would.
And just seeing that, and you know what? This would be kind of cool. End The Last Jedi with Rey going into training, and then have the next one, have it start with her, again, taking one from Rogue One, having her going through like a crowded area or like something like that to deal with whatever.
Right.
Like make
off her skill kind of
thing.
And
then all of a sudden she takes out the staff, and then the lightsaber comes out, and you're like, whoa, if you do that, then you can make her as skilled as you want in the last one and just say it was a big space between it. That's what I think they should do. They won't, because they won't listen to me. Thanks, George. But I think it'd be really cool, because then, she'd come in kind of like how Luke did in the Return of the Jedi. Comes in, he's like she's a lot more elegant. She's like, I have power.
Jabba's palace.
Then
Jabba, just listen to me, man. Just listen. Here's what you should do.
Then just takes out the big staff and just goes, and she's like, you really want this is your last chance? And he goes, whatever. Goes, no. Like, whatever. And she goes, okay. And
just activates the saber, and then the guy's all scared, and she just kicks butt for a little while.
It would be cool. And also you could get kind of like a more of a monk kind of look for her.
Yep, absolutely.
It'd be really cool. Like, give her a hood and even that would be kind of cool to go from have her in the very last one be a pure representation of the good, and
Kylo
Ren, thank you. Be a pure representation of evil. He killed his father, and who knows what he's going to do to his mother in this one. That sounded weird. I meant like murder. That probably doesn't help. Anyway, rest in peace, Carrie Fisher. You are amazing.
Oh, Carrie Fisher. Yes.
So, again, that's very sad. That I'm not happy that she passed.
No.
I'm putting in a complaint. But kind of like that, where it's pure representations. Like maybe have her dressed in all white and him still dressed in all black. His I can't remember the name of that store that I was about to make fun of. Him with his I hate my parents emo kind of get up.
Right.
It's going to bother me. I can't remember what that store is called. Anyway, I will get to it later. But yeah, that's what I think would be cool for her.
And honestly, we do have to do one now of what we think is going to happen, what we would like to see in the next movie. Because I was already, as soon as you said that, I was like, well, but we'll save that. We've got a few thoughts on The Last Jedi. Yeah.
So is there anything else you want to say for this episode to do with the lightsabers?
Lightsabers are awesome.
They're not flashlights.
No.
Some people have learned that the hard way, I'm guessing.
There has been just one last thing. There's been a few articles online in the last couple years where they're like, we've invented a lightsaber. And then you go and look and it's like, it's not a lightsaber, man.
It's a flashlight.
Yeah. And it's like, and it's cool, but that would be, in my life, it would be cool. And lightsabers are crazy. Like an actual lightsaber is so dangerous. Like I think it's like the Family Guy thing where like Obi-Wan just gives it to Luke, and Luke really doesn't know what it is, and he just sort of fires it up. You could easily be like, "Whoa, that's cool," and just like run it across your head and just kill. Like you're just like, "Oh, that's whatever." So, but them being that dangerous, I would love to actually wield a working lightsaber one day and have a little duel with somebody, a friendly duel. We don't want to kill each other in the end. But
when you're in the nursing home, you're old, and you're eating peas from a straw.
That's too late. Yeah, I don't want to fly an X-wing when I'm 80, and I'm running out of time.
I'll show up to your nursing home and I'll be like, hey, here you go, and I'll give you like a lightsaber, and you're like, sweet, and you'll start it up, and I'm like, ready to duel, and you're like, no, I'm very fragile.
Yes. Let me stretch. And I don't want to fly an X-Wing when I'm 80, but if I haven't flown an X-Wing and I'm 80 years old and they're invented, like someone should come and pick me up and take me for a cruise. That would be good.
Like McDonald's.
Yeah, just somewhere, wherever. Well, let's go to another galaxy. I mean, if you can. But
you could be like R2-D2. You could sit in the.
It'd get cold back there, man. That'd be freezing. Yes. It'd
be funny though. Could you imagine pulling up and people are like, "Whoa, it's an X-wing," and then all of a sudden you just pop up in the back and they're like, "What?"
Oh, I didn't know I had to sit back here. Well, the view's nice, anyways.
The wind in my hair. It's great. Okay, so that's been it for this week. We'll see you guys.
Thanks again for tuning into Chat Compactor and
episode 7, I believe.
Yeah, we're going to do a Christmas special talking about like toys that we wish we'd gotten too, right? That's coming up.
It's coming. That'll be. I think that's gonna come out on Christmas.
We'll do some like cool, like here's like some neat new toys that they have, and then here's some toys that we always like wish that we had when we were growing up.
So please leave in the comments what your favorite lightsaber battle was, and we will see you next week. Thank you for watching.
May the Force be with you.
And also with you. Bye.